Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gucci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition and episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on YouTube. Right, exclusively right here on the Mojo YouTube channel. It is Dave Sturchio. It is Chris Gucci. It is A5 Anthony behind the glass here at Chop Studios in Matawan, New Jersey. Don't let New York City fool you behind us. It is a feel-good, just feel-good Friday. We just, we don't have to put a sport in front of it. It's a feel-good Friday. We're feeling good today. We got a lot to talk about.
It is the final weekend before Pitchers and Catchers Report. We'll call it that.
I did see our friend and colleague over at Mojo, James Shiano, in Port St. Lucie last night.
Wait, you were there? You saw him there?
No, I saw him on the socials. Follow him on.
Got it now. So it's an internet thing.
So it looks like
that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always wanted to go to spring training. I've never got a chance to do it. I've always wanted to go to training camp in the NFL.
I've been there twice.
That's got to be cool. I want to do that so bad.
Sick, dude. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely a bucket list item for me. I started my childhood wanting to go to Tampa and then kind of leaned towards, this Packer thing is cool with the bikes.
I just carried on living my life.
And now I'm still haven't been there, so it's still a bucket list item. It's so easy. It's Tampa. I got to get there next year.
2.5 hour flight.
I've been saying next year since I was like 18. So
it looks like a fun time. So shout out to baseball. It's right there on the horizon. Very excited about that. Obviously, we got a lot to get into. We're going to talk a little bit about a groundhog that emerged from his hole. So we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers in a little bit. But first, we'll start with the NBA, the National Basketball Association. We got ourselves big performances last night. The slate picked up. I was excited to see everybody do their thing. Lauri Markkanen does not lead the night in points. Jason Tatum did with 42. But the reason why I bring up Lauri Markkanen is because he is up 2.6% just on last night's performance alone. Now, the key to a Mojo Market is it is the long game if you want to play that game and just kind of sit back, relax, and watch your stocks kind of either grow up and down, blah, blah, blah. But for the NBA, liquid props are the way to go.
Just in general, the liquid props are the way to go. I love it. I mean,
it's quick.
For the short term, if we want to have fun in a night,
right,
Tuesday
prop
night,
bet.
Liquid prop.
Yeah.
But we're talking long term. That's what the whole Mojo was. The inception of Mojo is based on the long term career
right.
investment, and that's what I think is the coolest part about it. But while I'm playing the long term career investment, I'd like to supplement that with some liquid props.
Yes,
so and
the liquid props from yesterday that we were talking about. Now it's a little bit of an anomaly. I would say this probably won't happen again. You were accurate on a couple of them. I missed on a couple. All the ones that we talked about. We talked about Klay Thompson and Anthony Davis of that game, Golden State and the Lakers, which, by the way, I saw a tweet last night. Somebody said, you better watch out. The Lakers are back. And I was like, come on, man. They won one game. It's like everybody pump the brakes on the Lakers right now. But the funny thing is, all the liquid props that we talked about yesterday all went short, under. So you're looking at it. We had Klay in that game. His over-under was set at 24.2, and he scored 22. So you're probably on the edge of your seat waiting for one more bucket, and it did not hit. Ja Morant of the other game we were talking about, Memphis and Philadelphia, which, by the way, was probably the game of the night. 110, 105, 76ers win that game. But Ja Morant, I mean, it's not like I'm about to question his stardom because he's one of the best in the league. But piggybacking off of an all-star game, piggybacking off of a lengthy time off, he returns to the court last night, and you said it, that it might be a struggle because Memphis on the road isn't all that great.
It's not that they're terrible on the road. They're terrible on the road against good teams. Philly is a really good team. True. Now that I think they've won 5 straight, maybe 6.
Okay.
And Memphis is still a good team too. They're still the second seed in the West, but you're going to have to show that you could go on the road and beat good competition if you're going to want to win playoff series. And that's what this season's all about for Memphis. We're getting to the postseason. You know they're going to be a top 4 seed in the West.
Sure.
Most likely. Let's see if they can win some series. Ja Morant said, I'm fine in the West. The only team he's worried about is the Celtics.
He said that?
He did say that. This was before the deadline. But Ja Morant's not making any friends, and he's definitely making it a little harder on himself because the media, it's about. Too. I mean, I do like Ja Morant. You're allowed to be confident in things like that.
I know. You don't want to poke the bear.
But it's just one of those things where the media has been waiting. Ja Morant could have done no wrong
I was gonna say he was a very silent assassin
up until this season
in the
now
NBA. Now it's just
you
like
got to win playoff series. You got to do your thing there.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Not a fan.
Western Conference is really strong. They've gotten stronger since that comment. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. So John Morant goes on there.
Now they're 2-11 in their last 13.
There you go. That's math on a Friday here, folks. But yeah, so he was set at 26.4, and he only scored 15 points last night. So no bueno there. AD. Look, the Lakers might be back as a team, but AD and LeBron were both very cold from the floor last night. AD only scores 12 points. Joel Embiid, we talked about him, 32. I said smash the over. Joel Embiid is going to get fed. He had himself a night, 27 points, but he was under. So it's like just tread lightly, be careful. Now, explain to me this. There's something new on Mojo that you had to explain to me what it was, and it's basically terminology. ESPN stinks, by the way. They always just play videos whenever they feel like it. I love ESPN, but like, stop with the auto plays. So yesterday there was almost a new feature on Mojo where there was like an other bet. This looked like to me was an alternate line. Is that what it is?
It has to be.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, like,
it's an alternate line.
The over is 26, and then they're like, oh, also 36. And it's like, well, yeah, it's an alternate line.
So you can go heavy on those things as well.
We'll call it the juice. We're going to juice it a little bit.
I like that. We hopefully didn't juice anything with John Morant or any of these guys that went under because clearly they couldn't get to their other number 2. Yeah, so those were the guys from last night. Now, look, the docket tonight is even just as good because, again, I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey, the Knicks are back. So the Knicks get to play some basketball tonight against Washington. Excited about that one. The games you want to pay attention to, which might hit your Mojo app today, is the Heat and the Bucks and the Thunder and the Suns. Those are 2 games you want to watch out for. The Suns, the new look Suns. Durant's not back yet, is he? I don't think so. No, it's going to be a little bit. But once he does get back, those Suns they're going to heat. Oh man, that wrote itself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Suns are going to heat up. Come on, man. God, Friday.
I don't know if Durant's back yet.
No, I don't think so.
That's actually a very good question because there was no real timetable on it, but now I have to check.
Yeah, Durant scrimmages with Suns ruled out Friday.
Okay,
so there you go. So he's on the court. Just not on the court.
I know
yet.
He's close.
He's very obviously if he's scrimmaging and he's doing his team practice and team drills, he's very close to coming back. So that is what I want to pay attention to going forward to see the new look Suns with Durant. See how that goes. I mentioned it last night, not kind of piggybacking off of last night's games, but I did mention that I was interested to see the Dallas Mavericks do their thing. I know the Spurs are a stinky bunch, but bro, when you drop $142 in an NBA game, like that is just everybody's clicking on all cylinders. Luka goes for 28. It's just like this new look Mavs team with Kyrie, they could be a problem, and they were waiting for that one extra piece, and they had it to an extent last year when they had Knicks point guard.
Brunson.
When they had Brunson, they looked like that was the piece that they needed, but it wasn't. But then they bring in the star power in the name value overall. Kyrie Irving's over there. And look, you're looking at a box score from them. Kyrie Irving drops 23. Luka drops 28. Collective effort, 22 off the bench. Who the heck is that? My man, Tim Hardaway Jr. Love Tim Hardaway Jr.
I think that the Dallas Mavericks' main issue is going to be their bench because they depleted it a lot to get Kyrie.
It's true. They traded away the farm to get him.
I don't think that they're a much better team than they were last year at this point. Kyrie is a better player than Brunson, but I don't know how much better, and I don't know if it's going to put them over that hump. So it's a nice little – it's fun to watch, that's for sure, but they're 1-2. They beat up on the Spurs. I need to see – they have this stretch coming up where they could win some games, right? But then after that, it's all about the postseason. We're in the final 25-game stretch right now. Nobody really cares.
This season flew,
it's about getting your bearings and getting all this stuff in sync for the postseason.
Dallas right now sits at 32-29. They're sitting there pretty at the 6th seed. They're a game ahead of the 7 and a half game out of the 5 and only a game out of the 4. So they're right there in the thick of things. So it's just, pay attention. I've always been a Luka guy. I think that he could do a lot on his own, but you add a Kyrie Irving, and I think they could be a contender. And depending on what we're looking at as far as like seeding purposes, they might play the Suns in the first round. So it's like
swept.
Yeah,
maybe not swept. Luka's too good for that, but maybe.
Over the weekend, just so you guys are aware, just give you guys a little preview ski here, little spoiler alert. Go focus in on the Knicks and the Pelicans and the Celtics and the 76ers. because those teams are going to be featured within the prop bets, the liquid props. So start doing your due diligence and your research now so you can make some money over the weekend, and we can talk about it on Monday. All right. Switching gears over to the National Football League. There is a lot of news to get into, obviously. We'll save Rodgers for a second because I know there's a lengthy conversation to be had over there about Aaron Rodgers. But I went on the Mojo app yesterday. I was exploring the app, and I like that little news button right in the middle of the app. It's right there. Sometimes you find our mugs all over that. But I did see a little bit of a graphic that they made that pretty much let the Mojo Market Report, or Mojo users all over the place, the most shorted stock in the 2022 NFL season, and that was Zach Wilson. Now, if you go back to one of our first couple shows,
have been us at the
MetLife
saying, guys,
get Zach Wilson
I feel like
now.
He was go long.
This is multipliers, right? And remember, he was hurt to begin the season, so he wasn't active yet. But we were figuring, as soon as this dude gets on the field, he's going to light the scoreboard up. He's going to win some football games, and he's going to be the next coming of Mahomes or something.
Everybody made some money on Zach, right?
I made a F ton of money on Zach Wilson in the beginning of the season. However, we all saw how the season played out. People started shorting his stock very quickly. And now you're finding yourself in a situation where, like, will you ever go back in on Zach Wilson at this point, especially a la they're bringing in a quarterback, right? But all signs point to them wanting to stick with Zach Wilson as the least a backup to learn from whoever they bring in, right? Mm-hmm. Where is your forecast for a Zach Wilson? Does he stay there on the bench in New York and just kind of sit there and learn under whoever, or does he get very complacent and say, "Look, man, if I'm going to like succeed in this league, I got to be somewhere else"?
Like Zach Wilson, they're going to bring in a quarterback that's going to be probably a 2-year, 3-year deal, and they're going to have an option to deal with Zach Wilson at the end of this contract.
Around the 5-year.
But they're also talking to Derek Carr like they think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he signs there. Great thing to say. I mean, I don't even know if Derek Carr believes that, but
David Carr definitely believes that.
Zach Wilson,
big on his brother.
Zach Wilson's days with the Jets are numbered. We'll just say that. And if you're asking me who's going to be the most shorted player,
I was just going to say, piggybacking off of that, who do you think is next year's Zach Wilson? Hype, and then the fall from grace.
Trey Lance.
Wow. Yeah.
But I don't think that Trey Lance is necessarily going to be a bad player. Or I'm just saying the writing is on the wall where it kind of looks like it could head in that direction where he may end up getting a job that people don't think he deserves. And then people just start to short him based on Brock Purdy should be starting. I'm shorting this guy because he's starting over the guy I think should be starting. So I think that at least out of the gate.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm trying to be creative here.
No,
so
I like it. I think that's outside the box. I would have never thought, if you gave me 100 guesses, I would have never said you say Trey Lance.
Because you know that I kind of like
Trey Lance. You like Trey Lance, right? You got Trey Lance memorabilia all over the freaking studio.
Yeah, I'm a Trey Lance fan. I want him to prove me right. There's a little bit of a side thing going. One of our viewers, Hawaii Mike, will definitely message me about this, and I've gone on record.
You gonna ignore him?
No. I mean, like, I think he kind of understands my point at this juncture, where it's saying, like, I gave a loose prediction that Trey Lance had a potential to win MVP going into last season based on the situation. And honestly, I think Brock Purdy's success kind of maybe proved me right. In a sense, where
meaning if it was Trey Lance, he would have been done even better.
Not that he would have done even better, but I was looking at a long shot MVP candidate plus 3,000, whatever the odds were, going into last season, and I was comparing it to a situation similar to the one Lamar was going into. Now, taking away the pedigree, taking away that Lamar was a 5-star recruit, Trey Lance wasn't.
Right.
Taking away all that stuff, I'm just saying NFL situation, year 2, very good offensive line, very good coach, a system that they're going to build the offense around you. I felt like there was a chance that Trey Lance was going to succeed last year. He got hurt. Obviously, the rest is history. We got Brock Purdy. But I think the 49ers are that, like, okay, they're one of the few teams in football where they're almost at a plug-and-play situation at quarterback.
Interesting.
Where plug-and-play, a guy that could, do the things that Trey Lance could do athletically, I think that's a really good spot to be in. Anyway, Trey Lance, I went from potential MVP
to
the most shorted player.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm all over the place with Trey Lance.
Definitely found your way.
And I will 100% be getting a text message or a DM about this segment.
I'm gonna say, just based off of looking, and in my opinion, I think that the quarterback position is the most fluid, and the ups and the downs are going to come with the rise and the falls and the starts and the benches and all that stuff. Dude, the show is called Feel Good Friday, not get Dave riled up on a Friday because you're talking.
I'm not saying that
Dak.
everyone's going to make money. I'm saying, Dak might be shorted a decent amount this year. He might. I might. You might.
I'm not short Dak Prescott. You're out of your mind.
Dave's going to sit that one out.
I'm definitely going to sit that one out. I'm not doing it. If I'm looking at the most, this is not a play on words. The biggest shorted stock of 2023 will be the shortest quarterback in the league. It's Kyler Murray. I think that once this dude gets back from injury, he's still going to struggle. He's going to have his struggles. DeAndre Hopkins more than likely will not be there as a safety net.
I think that. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I think Kyler Murray is the guy that his stock is there for a reason, because of the hype, because of the promise, because of the draft status, because of all the stuff that he's done and the money he was just paid. Kyler Murray is the most shorted stock in 2023. He is Zach Wilson next year.
I think that I wonder how the criteria is. Like, if you go long on him, it doesn't take away the fact that you're also shorted, right? So those are two separate entities.
Right.
Because I think that there's money to be made on Kyler before he comes back. Right?
Because it's gonna, but that's what I'm saying. So what's gonna happen is around August, September, when they're saying like Kyler's a month away, right? Like month and a half, people are gonna be like, oh, all right, and then you're gonna see a stock go.
Did you see the news that
Hopkins, right? It's gonna start getting up,
Hopkins
and then
maybe back now with the Cardinals, but
you're killing my point.
Realistically, it's not. I don't think he's going to be, because they're gonna have to pay him. He wants an extension.
That's a lot of moolah.
And everything I'm hearing from I'm not talking to them personally, but what I've been reading from execs around the league is that they're not a big fan of this coaching hire, and it's just going to get way worse.
Bro, they hired a defensive coordinator to be their head coach when their offense struggled. Like, that is, to me, that is the dumbest thing you could have done.
I don't think I would ever even consider hiring a defensive head coach.
Not at this point.
Not
in this league.
Not even consider it. Now,
and it's unfortunate for
Belichick's
really
the
good
greatest
defensive
coach of
coordinators.
all time, but I'm not doing it. Not the importance on the quarterback position is way too high in the league right now, or it just always has been. But I'm not going to be the guy that's like, let's try Vic Fangio for the 14th time, or Dan Quinn, like Wade Phillips. How many
guys
coordinators?
But what I'm saying have failed as head coaches, but then went back and went back to their niche.
Look, it is what it is. Bill Belichick's a defensive coach.
Yeah, all right. So the greatest coach of all time just so happens to be defensive coach. Allah also got to play with Tom Brady for his lengthy career. And guess what? Tom Brady's gone. Patriots look like junk right now. Compared to what they were doing with Brady, nobody even likes Mac Jones at this point.
Not true. What were the Patriots in Brady and Belichick's final year together? Brady was regular.
Because Brady regular. You could tell he was mentally just, I'm out of this.
I don't know that Brady has that in him to mentally check out. He played 4 more years after that.
Explain this year, then. Like, he's just bored. Like, I got 1 more year left of me, guys.
Brady,
and then he sat on the beach.
They said Brady is now taking a year off of the announcing thing, too?
So now Greg Olsen. Congratulations. Stock up on Greg Olsen, who gets to keep his job as the lead guy.
Do you know why?
He wants to go on vacay?
No, he's like dedicating a full year to get his family back. So all the memes.
Oh, God.
All the memes. What do you mean, oh, God?
Oh, God.
First of all, family man over here.
I am. Don't get me wrong. I am, and I would fight tooth and nail for everybody that I love, right? But it's like, come on.
It's the right thing to do.
Sure it is.
If that's what he wants to do, Tom Brady doesn't need the money. Let's be real.
I'm well aware.
But just bought his underwear for $220.
Don't you think the ship has sailed at this point? She gave him an option.
I don't really know.
He was like, I'm playing football.
Yeah, and I don't know that Tom Brady's been the type to take no for an answer or to like
banging on her door.
Like, I'm persistent. It's not like
open the door.
It's not like she's being chased by a scrub. It's Tom.
It's Tom
Brady.
effing Brady after all.
They live across the pond or the bay. We'll call it. It
is a bay.
We don't have to call it that. It is that.
It is in fact that. All right. We got to talk about this just because it is national news. I even feel like they're going to be. I think they're going to be reporting this on CNBC, Fox News, whoever else, CNN, ESPN, NFL Network. Everybody is captivated over the emergence of the groundhog known as Aaron Rodgers. He has come out of his bat cave, all right, or a hoblet?
Hobbit-like structure.
Hobbit-like structure, according to Adam Schefter, who comes out and says he came out of a hobbit. I can't do it on a straight face. How is he? Is that a you know what? Rodgers just called me shit. Sorry, Rodgers called me out. F you, Rodgers. I'm going in. I'm saying you're a hobbit. Like,
I mean, at this point, I think
there was no reason to describe it as that. Zero. Other than the fact that he felt
in this
insulted.
equation that resembles a hobbit, I would say it's Schefter. Right? So
probably, yeah.
He's like, oh, I takes one to know one, Chef. But
he came out of my house.
let's just be clear, right? I watched the McAfee show. I watched that interview. Rodgers wasn't like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go into the dark and then decide when I'm in there. And the reason why I'm going is because I need to decide.
Could he have worded it differently? Could he have just said,
no,
I'm going to go on vacation, guys. Turn the world
honestly,
off.
He could have.
He could have. He definitely could have.
But I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship here, and hey, he's having fun with it. It does not matter. It has not mattered. He was doing ayahuasca 2 years ago. Nobody heard about it until after, and he said it on the McAfee show. At this point, I think he's pulling the strings a little bit. Did he go in the darkness? Yeah, he did. Did he decide his NFL future?
Born in the
I have
darkness.
no idea. I have no idea. But he didn't go there for that reason. He went there for a litany of reasons, and that's just one of them. He is a football player. He has a decision to make. So why not go do what you want to do in the offseason? There's other guys that are hanging around in Wyoming.
Sure are.
Hunting.
Why not?
He's going to Oregon in a hobbit-like structure.
Did he think you did the Oregon Trail too? No, right? Could have. But he did.
If he did,
missed opportunity.
Then he would
That's
have
for all
lost
you old
his
heads out there.
brother to a snake bite and his like hay fever, malaria, all these crazy things out on the Oregon Trail.
Right.
First of all, can we talk about what traumatic experiences you had to experience in second grade in Miss Buggy's computer class?
Yes,
When
dude.
like I lost my entire family on the way to the Oregon, like on the way to in pursuit of gold. It's like I got attacked. We got attacked by a wild pack of Indians.
Bro,
Like what? Dad was bit by a snake.
The best part was when you went and did
He's
this.
too young to even understand
Anthony
what
has
we're
no
talking
idea
about.
what we're talking about, and I feel bad for anybody who didn't get to play the Oregon Trail. But the best
How about
thing was
number
how
munchers?
disappointed I got was like, I went hunting and I killed a squirrel. All right, but you're out there like, I need the bison now. I need to feed my family, and everybody's just dying left and right. This guy sprains his ankle left on the train tracks.
You know,
horrible.
Like, are you a banker?
What a game.
Or are you a
What a
farmer?
game.
Because if you're a banker, you're gonna struggle out there on the trail, bro. But if you're a farmer, you might be a little broke. You know, so it's like, do you want to barter? Or do you want to grow your own food?
What a
How we
great
gonna work
game.
this out?
Did you? All right, true. Like, yes or no? Did you ever win? Did you ever beat the Oregon Trail? Is this gonna be like, I beat it like 17 times? Yes.
If I ever made it to I struck gold, Dave. Yeah. Staked my land and all, right?
Great game. Anyway, so Rodgers is back. His decision will come in the next coming days, you would assume, or whatever. He can take as long as he wants. However, if you're the New York Jets, you're like, hey man, can you speed up the process a little bit? Because I mean, we're struggling over here, and we want either Derek Carr as our guy, right, or just we go with Aaron Rodgers. Now, I did hear something on the way in that there was a radio host last night, overnight, or actually not overnight, like the show before the morning show, said that the Jets should go for Derek Carr because because Aaron Rodgers won't win you a Super Bowl in 2 years, so you might as well get the longer term and work on it for 5. And I think that's a dumb take because I'm looking at it like, well, I mean, why would you want to wait 5 years? And that's something that Gio of WFAN said this morning. Why am I waiting? First of all, nobody is going to make your team closer to a Super Bowl.
This had to have been a call-in or something.
No, it was a host. New York Sports Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, I understand, like, Derek Carr might give you a good opportunity to win this
Long
year,
term,
too.
I mean,
This year, too. Like, I think
Sure,
Rodgers
fine.
gives you a better one, but not having to give up the capital that it's going to take to acquire Rodgers, I
Now,
think that's where
that's another thing
that's all they should be talking
Ready
about.
for this,
Not
though?
when are
I'm
we gonna
hearing
win.
I'm
Rodgers
hearing
gives
that the
them a better shot.
compensation won't be as dramatic as what people have said. Because if he goes back to the Packers and he says, hey, Goot and Goose, listen, I want to go play for the Jets. I think it's going to be good. My buddy Nate Hackett's over there. I want to play for the Jets. Mm-hmm. Apparently, according to Boomer Esiason, who I was listening, he thinks that the compensation isn't going to be the big thing. It's going to be the restructured deal. So, like, even if you were to get a first or 2 2s or whatever. It's the money that he has to renegotiate.
That's fine, but
because he's making $60 million this year.
Yeah, but that would have to be a backdoor deal where they're like, hey, we're going to take less. You go to work, pick your destination, we'll work it out, but you have to restructure so it alleviates all this BS cap that we're dealing with right now. But that has to happen soon.
Yes, very soon.
Otherwise, there has to be a player. The reason why the Packers are in a tough spot in that sense is because Rodgers could just retire. He could pull the Gronk. I was like, I don't know why you're trading me to the Lions. I'm retired, right?
You remember that?
Yeah.
Good
So
times.
if he retires, then what? Then there's everything is off, and the Packers have to pay him $50 million and $70 million against their cap. I don't know; it's probably already paid. That's the reason why the restructure isn't really even realistic either. So I think Boomer might just.
I'm talking about the Jets restructure. You have to.
No,
they have to alleviate.
I know. But how do you restructure money that's already been paid?
You're talking about the dead cap money that would hit the Packers?
Yeah. So what's the point of a restructure for Green Bay? They've already owned that money regardless. That's not true. So Boomer, I think, is kind of speaking out of pocket a little bit. Because I feel like I know this situation a little better than he does. I think Boomer, as I just said, doesn't understand that the money's already paid, so the restructure is not realistically on the table. There would be a restructure on the table in terms of him staying with Green Bay, but it wouldn't even alleviate all that much. It would be like a couple million.
So you're telling me this is all in like guarantees and stuff? Is that where we're at?
When
in that contract?
They really put themselves in a bad spot to appease me last offseason. I'll tell you that. All right?
Yeah.
And that's the nature of the sport. When the player has all the leverage like that and they actually succeed, this is why teams play hardball.
So here's the thing. Ready for this?
Cautionary tale.
So crazy how they structured this deal.
Right?
I'm looking at it.
Don't say crazy because you're in the exact same spot in the next 2 years. But almost worse because I feel like that's the worst player.
And this is my rebuttal to that. Guaranteed salary for 24, 25, and 26 is $0.
Yeah, because it's already paid.
The other bonus is equivalent to about $91 million. That's insane.
Yeah, but do you know what Dak's signing bonus is this year and next?
Oh, his cap is ridiculous. But what I will say is it's not this. It's not what I'm looking at right here. Like where all of a sudden, like, look, no, here. So Dak's guaranteed salary, okay, in 2023, this year is 31. His cap number's 49. It sucks, right? The following year, his guaranteed salary is 0, and 25 and 26 is void. His other bonus, there's only a $5 million bonus left on his deal. So, like, all the guarantees you're talking about, the cap number, if stayed upon, would be ridiculous. But, like, it's a totally different contract.
It's a different contract, but at the end of the day, the Cowboys are going to be $130 million against their cap over a 2-year stretch, either now or in 2 years down the line, or it'll get worse
if they keep him around. That's why I think they need to extend them. If Dak Prescott is your guy, you got to extend them.
If there's an extension, they're just creating this exact same situation that the Packers have with Rodgers, but with worse money because it's going to be after way worse contracts are signed in about 4 years, and Dak's going to be a worse player, and no offense. Worse than he is now, and probably worse than Rodgers was at the time.
Talking about coming into his prime.
Fair.
Super
But
Bowl.
4 years from now, it could be past his prime. You know how that goes.
Yes, I'm well aware.
So it's a tough spot. But
it is
it's the
interesting.
nature of the sport. That's why when I'm going to point the finger, if Lamar gets paid, you can't be like, oh, well, what is he? That's just what it is
you
now.
see how far apart they are?
Yeah, but
That's ridiculous.
But someone's going to give it to him. If not, like whatever he gets is going to be massive.
I'll die on the hill.
I'll say Deshaun Watson's contract is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but
I'll die on the hill to say that a quarterback of Lamar's stature and play style will never warrant a fully guaranteed contract. Never.
I agree.
So that's why, and if he's out there still thinking he's going to get that, he's absolutely wrong.
The fact that we're even talking about the fact that, or the idea that anybody doesn't deserve a guaranteed contract in the NFL, they all do.
Correct, but when it's not the norm,
confines of the
right, when it's not the norm, like in baseball, you're not talking about this stuff. It's fully guaranteed money, so who cares, right? You're getting paid. There's guys out there still getting paid who haven't played in 25 years.
There's so many things going on with the NFL right now that it's just concerning.
Do you think that ever becomes a thing before we get out of here? Do you think that the NFL turns to guaranteed money? All of it?
Absolutely not, because there's like a coalition of owners that are forming an association that is.
It's called the CBA.
No. This is
It'll never get past it.
the CBA. No, the CBA is what happens. It's a collective bargaining agreement. You have to come up with one. It's like, but
I'm
what
saying, when it's
ends
the
up
union
happening
and
is
the
you have
players.
the owners against the players. The owners are teaming up. A group of owners are teaming up, and they're like against other owners that aren't in line with making as much money as possible and screwing over the players. There's a Deadspin article. I don't really get behind much of what Deadspin does because I feel like what they do is just try to drum up controversy.
Sure.
But where there's smoke, there's fire. And when you're talking about people like the NFL owners who are the elites, and I'm not getting deep into what I think about society as a whole. I'm talking about the NFL
about to get
owners.
deep, ladies and gentlemen.
And,
Cut us
and
off
how,
right now. Cut his mic off.
How if it's not abundantly clear at this point how greedy these guys are.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a faction of them that are take on almost a Mark Cuban approach where they're like, this is just fun. I love football. It's financial, obviously.
I love Mark Cuban.
But there's other elements here. It's like I don't need to be making a ton of money here if I'm making some, and we're all making money. They're basically going up against those guys too, and they're trying to split the ownership. Owners. So it could be a good thing in a long run for the players if they can't get owners on board. But you know how the Jerry Jones of the world go. If Jerry's like,
I had no idea.
There's a very good chance that Jerry Jones is leading the charge of this owners coalition we're talking about.
That could be. Anyway, we're going to get into Alan Lazard's market, but we're going to save that for next week because I know that he came out and said, he's going to be a little bit of bougie when selecting his next place because of the fact he was so spoiled in Green Bay. And why are you spoiled? Because you get to play with Aaron Rodgers. So you got to go pick a good team, Alan. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll dive into that next week. Monday, programming alert. It's just me. You just got me on Monday. So I will be joining you guys back here on Monday morning. Chris will be on the slopes. You're going on a little bit of vacation ski. It seems like everybody's on vacation. Shiano's in Port St. Lucie. Then you got Sam. She's on some island somewhere over there at Mojo. Everybody's leaving me.
I've gone snowboarding 3 times. I've ended up in the ER 2 times.
Oh,
so
no, man.
there is
So,
a
all right, so
chance that
great.
I will be here on Tuesday, and there's a chance that I'll be in the.
There's a chance that I'll be doing the show by myself for the whole week because he's in a full body cast and he can't do anything.
In the Poconos.
Horrible. Anthony, you ready for your on-screen debut, bro? You ready? You ready to get in here? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another show. Please follow us right now on the social media right now, and that's the Instagram, Twitter, and the TikTok at Mojo, MOJO. Very easy to find us. Also, follow along all weekend long with all your best plays over there on the Discord. It's a daily conversation to be had. Join the Discord now. Do not miss out on an opportunity. Follow us all over Mojo.com. Plenty of content there. And of course, download the app. None of this stuff is possible without the app right now. Available on your Apple Store and your Google Play Store. I'll never get that right.
The website is coming, though. I was told.
What?
Yeah, little birdie told me that the Mojo website is being built.
Mojo has a website already.
Yeah, but like the...
Okay, cool. So a little bit of action over there. All right, I totally understand what you're talking about. At first, I'm like, well, there's definitely Mojo.com. I don't know what you're talking about.
Investing in things like that.
Beautiful. Love it. All right, so for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci, A5, Anthony Behind the Glass, we hope you guys enjoyed another episode of the Mojo Market Report. Enjoy your weekend. Get in on those prop bets, the liquid prop bets with the NBA, and we'll talk all this stuff on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.